Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Vita. That day you were not there in the class? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
All well now?
Yes, ma'am. All well.
Okay. I was just wondering because normally you're regular, feeling well or not. Keshav was there that day,
Yes,
active
ma'am.
and responding. City life, I think, Snehal, you missed out that topic, no? We had started with the cities.
Yes, ma'am. I watched one of the recordings, only of the last period that were left.
Okay. Fine.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, dear. You
Ma'am?
people get exhausted by fifth class, fifth period, sixth period, seventh period.
Yes, ma'am.
Later periods after second break, you people feel tired, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you have in the first period?
Economics?
So 7:30 you have the class. Do you wake up in the morning and take the class or you're sleeping?
Ma'am, I do take the class.
Okay. I thought sleeping 7:30 is a time when many students don't join because they're sleeping. Okay, let's continue.
Yes. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, what about the PHE classes, physical education classes?
What?
So I was wondering if their classes are still continuing.
Yes, they are continuing. You're not added in the PHE group.
Ma'am, what group?
You have a group for physical education. So PHE link is not shared in the humanities.
No, ma'am.
Since the new timetable has
No, ma'am.
started, you're not having PHE classes.
No, ma'am. I was wondering to ask you the day before, but I didn't come to class, so I couldn't.
Very strange. Let me also check out in other groups if we have PHE classes. We must be having because I don't think sir is on leave. Let me confirm if he's on leave. I don't think he's.
Okay, ma'am.
I think the problem is we have a separate group of PHE by the name of 11th PHE. And most probably, sir has not added both of you humanities wala students in the PHE group.
Okay, ma'am.
I think this is it. So your optional period mentioned is?
Yes,
ma'am. I'll just ask Gaurav sir, okay? And I'll let you know today. Don't worry. I think he is not added you in the PHE group. That is why you're having problems.
Okay,
Beta, I
ma'am.
had done. Now just tell me one thing. This part was already done with Keshav. You want me to do it again with you because you people did not attend. Or you'll be able to do yourself, or you've done it and I can proceed.
Ma'am, I have done the movement of goods in cities. I have to start the
Fine.
development of writing.
So let's start from your development of writing only. This Keshav had done, he is not there today. Anyways, very quickly, development of writing, it's a small paragraph. But when you read this paragraph, refer to the figures on the right side. Okay? Quickly, children. Quickly, Anushri and Snehal. Good girls. Read, beta?
Ma'am, almost.
Okay, take another 1 minute. It's absolutely fine. And please relate it to the pictures on the right side.
Okay, ma'am.
This reminds me, beta, I have taken over as a class teacher of 11th Humanities. So if you have any issues, please drop a personal message to me. Any type of problem.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, you can drop a personal message to me. Both of you listen. I have taken over as a class teachership now.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, read.
What did you understand, Snehal? Let's first ask what Snehal could understand. Then we'll move on to Anushri. Yes, Pichu.
Ma'am, from this I understood that from in the past also, so when the societies developed, people started speaking, and these noises that they used to create or sounds they used to create were known as verbal communications. Writing was also a form of verbal communications, but writing was different, as we used to write stuff on clay tablets, and that used to be a way of communicating.
Okay, very good. Anushri, what did you understand, beta?
Ma'am, in this paragraph, all societies have the language. Writing is variable. Writing is very common, but the sounds spoken represented the symbols. These are representing how they speak language on their words. They first made the Mesopotamian tablets.
Yes.
They write around 3200 BC.
Like animals did, Puna beta, they make certain sounds, and those sounds convey meanings. So it is believed that the earlier language started like this only. There were no words. They were sounds, and each sound had a certain meaning. Like still we use some of them. When we say shh, we mean be quiet. So what are these sounds which have a certain meaning? Some of them we still use today. We do or we don't?
We do, ma'am.
Yes. Whenever you see a teacher coming and you want to warn the other students of your class, you say shh. You keep on doing this. They automatically understand that they need to be quiet. So it is believed that earlier languages basically were sounds which conveyed certain meanings. This kind of a communication is known as verbal communication. When you're communicating some meaning, but you're not using words, you're just using sounds. Such kind of a communication is known as what communication is it called? Verbal communication. Writing also can be considered a verbal communication, but it's a little different. How? When we talk about writing or a script, we mean that spoken sounds are now represented as signs. We generally, the sounds that we were making, we are going to represent. Like, for example, I want to tell you to be quiet. When it's going to be verbal, I'm going to do shh and keep the finger on my lips. But if the same thing has to be put in a script, I'll have to draw this, that a finger on the lip. What am I doing? Spoken sounds are being represented as visible signs. If we talk about the first Mesopotamian tablets, which were written somewhere 3200 BC, they contain picture-like signs and numbers. Picture-like signs and numbers. We had about 5,000 list of oxen, fish. We had bread, loaves, etc. List of goods that were brought into or distributed from the temples of Uruk. Uruk is a city in the south. So we had a long list of about how many items? See the figure?
500.
3 zeros.
5,000.
5,000. And mainly we had those things which were either brought or taken away from this city. What is the name of the city?
Uruk.
Now, one thing very clear, things are going in the city. That means they're being imported, and things are also going out of the city. So transactions are going on. Transaction is going on. Things are coming in the city. A lot of things are coming, a lot of things are going out. So a lot of transactions are happening. Whenever you have a lot of transactions, you need to keep a record of the transactions. Supposing you run a business and you're sending 100 goods out every day, you're taking in 60 goods in, so you need to keep a record, otherwise you'll forget now. Because in city life, transactions occurred at different times and involved many people and a variety of goods. Why do we need to have a written record? Transactions were done at different times. Supposing it is done today, then maybe after 5 days, another 7 days, number one. Number, many people were involved. Supposing I'm dealing in pottery and I want this clay, the mud, earth. I'm taking it from 5 people, my raw material. So many people are being involved. And from that raw material, I'm making a variety of goods. So I'm selling it to different people. So there are 3 reasons why we need to have a record of transactions. Number 1, transactions occurred at different times. Number 2, they involved many people. And number 3, they also involved a variety of goods. That is why we need to have a record. The Mesopotamians wrote on tablets of clay. A scribe would wet clay. Who is a scribe?
One who made these tablets. Clay
Yes,
blocks.
one who writes. Very good. One who writes is known as a scribe. Sometimes what happens is some student is hurt and you have your board examination. So the board gives instructions saying that you can take the help of a scribe. Means you will speak and the other person will write your answers. This option is given to certain handicapped people or certain physically disabled people. Specially enabled is the word I should use rather for this. So what do the scribes do? First, they used to wet the clay and then they used to pat it into a size he could hold comfortably in one hand. They used to not make very large tablets. They used to make small tablets so that they could comfortably hold them in what?
One hand.
And then he used to make the surface of the tablet very smooth. And he used to take the sharp end of a reed cut obliquely. Sharp end cut obliquely. What is obliquely?
Diagonally.
Yes. Teda karke, slanting. He would press the wedge-shaped word was, what is the word we use? Cuneiform. The wedge shape is cuneiform signs on the smooth surface while it was still moist. So he started making these lines on it when the tablet is dry or it is still moist.
Moist.
Yes. After making these signs, it was dried in the sun. The clay would become hard and the tablets would be almost indestructible as pottery. After you keep it in the sun, they become quite hard, like you have pottery. Pottery, of course, can be destroyed. This also can be destroyed, but a lot of effort is needed. So the clay has been made very strong because it is now kept, first it was made moist and now it is kept in the sun. When a written record of, say, the delivery of pieces of metal had ceased to be relevant, the tablet was thrown away. Supposing 1 month, I have maintained a record of all the transactions of 1 month. After 1 month, I don't need that. I'm going to keep my hisab kitab of the next month. So after my work is done, what they used to do, beta, after all the delivery, all things had done, it's no more relevant. It is not more needed, no? What they used to do with these tablets?
They just throw them away.
Yes. Nowadays, we maintain registers for records. We keep them. And after a certain time, 2 years or 3 years, we destroy the registers. We don't need them. Similarly, they used to also throw away the tablet once they were not relevant. They were of no use there. Once the surface dried, okay, signs could not be pressed onto a tablet. Whatever signs had to be made on the tablet have to be made only when the tablet is wet or dry.
Wet.
Wet. Once they become dry, we cannot have any signs put on this. So each transaction, however minor, required a separate written tablet. So each transaction required a separate. Supposing I'm sending one bullock cart to your house. So this is one transaction of mine. What all things are there in that bullock cart, I have written down. Now, I have put the tablet to dry. I cannot write anything on that tablet now because now it has become dry. I cannot write. So now I'm sending another bullock cart to your place. So I will have to write on another tablet. This is why tablets occur by the hundreds at Mesopotamian sites. That is the reason we have so many tablets at the Mesopotamia site. It is because of this wealth of sources that we know so much more about Mesopotamia than we do about contemporary India. We know so much about Mesopotamia because we have got so many tablets. Now, who will tell me why we have so many tablets? Why was everything not being done on a single tablet only?
Ma'am, because because we cannot mark any more writings or transactions on the clay tablet after it had been dried. So
And why do you
everything,
think they were making it dry, Snehal?
so that they could become hardened and not destroyed, and we could store it for later use if needed.
Very good, very good. So once it becomes dry, we cannot use it further. If we
So
cannot use it further, yes.
every transaction required a new tablet, and that's why there were hundreds of them.
Because once they become dry, we cannot use them again. Okay, fine. Yes. So let's have this. By 2600 BC or so, the letters became cuneiform. You remember this word cuneiform? Wedge shaped. Press wedge shaped. You press and you can have the letters printed. The letters started and the language was Sumerian, which is the first record that we have of the language printed here, letters.
Sumerian.
Yes. But in the beginning, no stories, no poems, no novels were written. Writing was used only for keeping records, but also for making dictionaries, giving legal validity to land transfers, narrating to the deeds of kings. See now what all the writings were used for. Let's take it one by one. First is keeping records, nothing to explain than this. Making dictionaries. What does this mean, making dictionary?
Some new words that were discovered
Yes,
with
new
them.
words. Good. Giving legal validity to land transfers means
Whenever land was exchanged, a legal document which says who exchanged what land with whom.
yes, beta, validity. For how many years this land has been given to you, who has given, to whom he has given. Narrating the deeds of kings. Supposing the king has won a battle or something, then it was narrated. Announcing the changes the king has made in the customary laws of the land. If the king has made any change in the law, then that also was written. Sumerian, the earliest known language of Mesopotamia, was gradually replaced after 2400 BC by Akkadian language. So in Mesopotamia, we had, which was the first language to be used?
Sumerian.
Sumerian was later replaced by another language. Which one?
Akkadian.
Akkadian. Cuneiform writing in the Akkadian language continued in use until the 1st century. That is for more than 2000 years, and we kept on using this language only. Which one? Akkadian.
Akkadian.
Now 2 minutes, please read system of writing quickly.
Ma'am, read.
Okay, tell me now, what did you read? Share it with me.
I read that in the cuneiform or sign that was or the way the language was written was not in the simple one single constant or vowel that is now that is A or B, but it was written in a group of constants that is or syllables. That's why that's why the way it was written and the symbols or the signs that were used in the Mesopotamian scribe ran into hundreds, and the person had to be able to learn all those symbols and write them and understand them. And before the tablet dried off, um, the skill to write was a skilled craft, but it was also enormous intellectual achievement as it was very long and contained visual forms of sounds.
Anushri, beta, now you tell me, what did you read?
Ma'am, the sounds are not single or constant. They use the sounds, but not that was not constant. But the syllables use, say, put, and all these signs are Mesopotamian scribes. They learned ran into the hundreds. Uh, and the person had to be handled in the white tablet. That's why the writing skills and craft are are more are more important. The it was an achievement in it was an achievement of conveying in visual form the system of sounds of a particular language.
Okay, very good, children. Okay, let's discuss now what all we have read. This system of writing, that the sounds that we had, the signs beta, they were single consonants or more than one?
More than one.
More than
Yes.
one.
And similarly, single vowels or more than one?
More than one.
Yes, we had more syllables also, like put, la, or, in. So the signs that we had in the Mesopotamian scribe, okay, they were into hundreds and thousands beta. Very difficult to put them in tablets, all the sounds, and then get it written before it dries. So if you see, writing was a very, very skilled craft. What is more important is that it required a lot of, this is, if you see, if a person is able to write, if the modern man, we are not talking about, we're talking about the primitive man, our ancestors, if they could write, that means it was a big achievement for them, intellectual achievement. What do you mean by the word intellectual achievement?
Ma'am, intellectual is basically mental and like the study.
Yes, beta. Intellectual means intelligent, wise. So it's a big achievement. It's a wise achievement that we had. Okay. It conveys in visual form the system of sounds of a particular language. See how intellectual art it is. It's a very intellectual skill because it conveys the visual sounds in the form of certain, the sounds in the form of visual forms, any particular language it could be. Now we are saying that people could read, people could write. That means, do you agree that the people were literate?
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't it? They were writing beta, and whatever was being written, they were reading also. That means the people were literate. So let's talk about the literacy at that time. Very few Mesopotamians could read and write. The general perception that we had is so many slabs we have found, that means the people were reading and writing. But remember, not all. How many Mesopotamians could read and write?
Very few.
Very few of them could write. Reason being, there were hundreds of signs to learn. And these signs were very complex also. Because for everything, they had a sign. And learning so many signs is not easy. If a king could read, he made sure that this was recorded in one of his boastful inscriptions. Okay, if every king could read, what would be his priority? What would the kings always want if they could read? Most of the kings could not read. They had some people reading and writing for them. According to them, if most of them could read, they would tell them to write all boastful inscriptions. What does this mean?
Ma'am, that they would boast that they could read and that they are superior than others because they have learned how to read.
Okay, and they would always tell them to write about them in a boastful manner. The king is this, the king is that. Okay, a letter from an official would have to be read out to the king. Okay, supposing a letter has been written by some minister or some officer, so the king is not able to read. The letter is being read out to the king. How it would start? Okay, it would begin, to my lord, thus says your servant so. I have carried out the work assigned to me. A long mythical poem about creations ends thus. See, let these verses be held in remembrance and let the elder teach them. Let the wise one and the scholars discuss them. Let the father repeat them to his sons. Let the ears, the herdsmen be open to them. Supposing a king is giving some instructions or a king has done something, supposing he has won a war. So how they used to write? Let this be a remembrance for elders to teach. This that the king has won this war, all elders should remember and teach it to whom? They expected to teach it to?
The coming generations.
Yes, the coming generations. Let the wise ones and the scholars discuss them. All the wise people who know about this achievement or the scholars should discuss them. With whom? Those who are not able to read. Let the father repeat them to the sons. Each family head should tell this achievement to the sons as well. And let the ears of even the herdsmen be open to them. Herdsmen? Who are herdsmen?
Ma'am, the one who herded sheep and goats.
So there are two things about herdsmen. It's believed that they're not very educated, number one. And number two, they keep moving from one place to another. So even the herdsmen ears are open. Means wherever these herdsmen go, they should also be able to hear these achievements. Basically, this is how rhythmically or poetically the kings wanted that the achievements should be mentioned. Now, we are going ahead with the use of writing. So what was the literacy rate? Was it very high or very few people were literate?
Very few.
Very few.
Very few. Most of the time the kings were literate or not?
No, ma'am.
Not.
And why was it so different? Why was it so difficult to be literate at that time? Because we had what?
Many signs and symbols for the words.
Very good. And these signs and symbols were very, very
long.
They were very complex, long. So whenever something official was writing to the king, it had to be read out to the king. The uses of writing. Let's finish this very quickly. Uses of writing. Read. Let me discuss with you. Now, there was a connection between city life, business, and writing. And this connection between all three things is brought out in a very long Sumerian poem, okay, about Enmerkar. Name the ruler. Enmerkar. He was a ruler of this, one of the most primitive cities. We have just done this word a few minutes back. What was the name of the city?
Uruk.
Uruk. It is believed in Mesopotamian tradition that this city, Uruk, was par excellence, often known simply as the city. It was called as, what was the name we gave it?
The city.
The city. Okay. Now, this king of this city, Enmerkar, is associated with the organization of the first trade of Sumer. In the early days, the epic says. Now, what does this poem tell us? Now, listen what all this epic is telling us. Trade was not known. Was trade known at that time when we had this king, Enmerkar? No. Trade was, yes, read over here. Did we have trade? We did not have trade. Enmerkar wanted lapis, lazuli, and the precious metals for the beautification of a city temple and sent his messenger out to get them from the chief of a very distant land called Areta. Now, this king, Enmerkar, he wanted to make a temple. And for this temple, he wanted all the precious metals. Most probably, these precious metals were not available in abundance in his city. Which city ruler was he? Enmerkar was a ruler of which city?
Uruk.
Uruk. So what did he do? He wanted these precious stones. So he sent one messenger to a place called, what is the name of the place?
Arata.
Arata. Clear everyone, both of you? Enmerkar wanted to make a temple. Enmerkar is the king of the city Uruk. He wanted all the precious metals. So he sent one of his messengers to a very distant land, very far off place. It was Errata. The messenger heeded the word of the king. He went and he forwarded the words of the king. By night, he went just by the stars. By day, he would go by heaven's sun divine. So who is guiding him? At night, the stars used to guide him. And daytime, of course, the sun. What we are trying to say is continuously walking. Whether it is nighttime or daytime, he is moving. He had to go up to the mountain ranges and had to come down of the mountain ranges. He had to climb a lot of mountains. The people of Susa, there was a city below the mountains. What is the name of the city they're talking about?
Susa.
Susa. They saluted him like tiny mice. Okay. Now, he's calling them as tiny mice. The people of the city Susa, he's calling them as tiny mice. Basically, beta, what is happening is the person, the messenger of the king is standing on the top of a mountain. That means he's at a great height. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So when he sees from such great height, the people seem big in size or small. When you see something from a great height, so things below. Yes.
Small.
They think small or they appear big?
Small.
Yes. That is why he's saying like tiny mice. They're not like mice in size. It is because this messenger was at a great height. He's standing on a mountain. So for him, the people are like tiny mice. 5 mountain ranges, 6 mountain ranges, 7 mountain ranges he crossed, means he kept on crossing so many mountains to reach which place is he wanting to reach? The king has sent him where?
Errata.
Errata.
Yes, beta, Errata. The messenger could not get the chief of Errata to part with the lapis, lazuli or silver, and he had to make the long journey back and forth again and again, carrying threats and promises from the king of Uruk. First time when he went, did the chief of Errata agree to give the precious stones?
No, ma'am.
No. So he came back, he told the king, yes, the chief is not ready to give those precious stones. So the king told him, go again. And now threaten him. Try this way. If he's not giving it in a friendly manner, go and threaten the chief. So again he went. He's crossed all those mountains again, going up, coming down. And he goes and threatens. And did Errata chief agree? He does not agree again. Okay. The messenger, he went 2 times. 3 times. Look at these words which will tell you. See. Threats and promises. Then some promises also. 2-3 times he went. Ultimately, the messenger grew weary of mouth. He got so tired that every time I have to go tell, he got all the messages mixed up. First time he went, he said something. Second time he went. Third time something else. All the 3 times. So he got all mixed up in his messages. So Enmerkar formed a clay tablet in his hand. What did Enmerkar have a solution? What did he form?
Clay tablet.
Yes. And he wrote the words down because whatever Enmerkar used to go say, this messenger was not able to convey exactly the same thing to the chief. Because when he was traveling for years and months, all the messages got mixed up. So whatever the king message was, it was not reaching in the exact way to the chief. So Enmerkar understood. He made a clay tablet. He wrote the words down. In those days, there had been no writing down on words on clay. Earlier, we did not have this system. Given the written tablet, the ruler of Errata examined the clay. Now the messenger has gone with that clay tablet, and now the Errata ruler is reading. Spoken words were nails. His face was frowning. He kept looking at the tablet. The words were like nails, means like sharp, pointed, wedge. He did not know what do these letters mean. Supposing I send you a gift where you have all nails, keel, nails, you will obviously frown. What is this? So he also did not understand what does this tablet mean. He kept on looking at the tablet. This should not be taken as a literal truth, but it can be inferred that in Mesopotamia, understanding it was kingship that organized trade and writings. We do not say that this is exactly truth, this incident, but we are trying to tell you that who was the person who was looking into business and writings, basically the king. This poem tells us that besides being a means of storing information and sending messages afar, writing was seen as a sign of the superiority of Mesopotamian urban culture. So whenever the messages had to be sent to a far off place, that time also what was used?
Clay tablets.
Clay tablets. And to show that yes, Mesopotamian culture is superior than all the other urban cultures, all the other cities we have. The Mesopotamians used to send these clay tablets. Others could not read, understand, or comprehend. So clay tablets were used for so many things. Fine. Can we have 2-3 things where we were using these clay tablets?
Storing transactions.
Yes. Come on, Varman. Come on, Anushri and Snehal, both of you. Tell me, uses. Yes,
talking between kings and showing that Mesopotamian urban culture was far superior than the rest.
Yes. And if you have to send a message to a far off place and you're not sure that the messenger whom you're sending will be able to remember all the things which have been told to him. So what was the solution these people had?
Writing them in clay tablets and sending it with them.
Though this was very funny, this was of no use. Can you tell me why?
Ma'am, because no one other than the Mesopotamian urban culture could understand those.
Yes, beta. They could not understand only what is it. However, just to show that, see how superior we are, that you're not even able to understand what is being told to you. Okay. So this is how we are, they were trying to show the Mesopotamians that we are much superior. This is about writings. We talked about a long poem. Okay. Which king?
American.
Very good. Okay. He wanted to make a
transaction or exchange.
He wanted to send a message, of course. And what basically message? What did he want from Areta?
Lapis lazuli and precious metals.
Yes. And why did he want these precious metals?
For the beautification of a city temple.
Yes. So basically, most probably he did not have these metals. So he sent a message to the chief of a place. What place is mentioned here?
Areta.
Areta. So was it a very close place or was it a far place from this Mesopotamia? Areta.
Far.
What words or what references in this poem tell you that it was a place far off? When we talked about the route of the messenger, think.
By the night.
Yes. Tell
By the
me
night
what
he went judged by the stars. By day he is moving. By the night he is going.
Moving by stars and sun. That means continuously for 24 hours he is moving and is moving. And then we also talked about crossing mountains. Did he cross one mountain or many mountains?
Many mountains.
And those mountains were very high peak mountains or they were small mountains?
High mountains.
What clue you get that they were high mountains?
Mountain ranges.
The people of Susa, a city below the mountains, saluted him like tiny mice.
Yes. So when the messenger was seeing, then it was like a small mice. And the chief was not agreeing. Every time the messenger went, the chief did not agree. So the king thought probably the messenger is not able to convey my message. He's not able to convey my message. So that is why what did the king do last time?
He wrote it in a clay tablet and sent it with him.
Now what happened after the clay tablet reached there?
The chief of Areta could not understand